Broadcasting from the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studios, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2019 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studio with me today, I have Titan Games athlete and mechanical engineer, Thong. How are you doing, Thong?
Hey, Katie. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us. So I just have, one question to kind of get the ball rolling, and it's, where did you grow up, and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
So I grew up actually here where I still live, Tampa, Florida. And growing up, I think my dad is the one that got me into sports. Like, he'd wake us up, like, in elementary school. When I say us, me and my siblings. I have one older sister and one younger brother. Mm-hmm. He'll wake me and my sister up at, like, 6 a.m. before we go to school to kick the soccer ball around. And then do some long division, which later on I was good at math and became an engineer. But I think it all started from there, and I got into sports, a little bit of sports in high school, and but I was focused on more of school than sports.
Yeah,
but I'd still play it. Mm-hmm.
So why did he get you up to kick a soccer ball and do long division? Was it just part of his parenting technique?
Yeah, I think growing up, my dad still now, he's really good at sports. He'd play with us all the time and beat us, even though he's getting old. But he wanted us to be athletic, but at the same time good with school. Mm-hmm. So he was more of the one that got us into sports than my mom did. So yeah, my dad's the most athletic one that got us started.
Yeah, so you just wanted that. I mean, it makes sense. He wanted you to be well-rounded, so obviously liking academics and being apt in that area, but also just being a little physically fit too. And so kicking a soccer ball around, I'm sure, was fun at 6 a.m.
Yeah, it was great. Even though probably the neighbors hated us because they heard the ball just hitting against the house.
Oh man, yeah, you probably were very well liked in your neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, from there, you grew up playing soccer a little bit and really focusing in on academics. And so, did you ever really play organized athletics as you got into middle school or high school or college, or did you really just focus in on more on the academic side?
I mainly focus on the academic side. I did get involved into sports in like middle school. Like I played soccer in middle school, and then in high school, that was when I really like just dialed down on school. But I did get involved with like JV football and golf and cross country. Mm-hmm. So I did a little bit of that. But entering like my senior year of high school, the coach was asking me why did I play football. I just told him I was just overwhelmed with like AP classes, and I really wanted to do well in school. So I ended up graduating top 10 of the class in high school. But I mean, I still got involved with sports in school, and I met like a lot of great friends through that in high school.
Yeah.
And in college, I got involved in intramurals, like none of like those like the crazy teams, but we did intramural sports.
Yeah.
So I, again, still played soccer. I played a little bit of volleyball, but I guess I always went back to soccer because all of the engineering, it's an international like sport, and it's like one of the biggest sports in the world. And that's where I ended up meeting a lot of my engineering friends because they also played soccer. Oh. So we do like pickup games if we're not studying or not working out. So that was like college.
Yeah. And I mean, it is cool that it wasn't your main focus, but you were able to develop that camaraderie with people that you had that engineering commonality with, and so you got to play with them. So when you were younger, then playing soccer and kind of falling back into that, but academics clearly were your driving force, and you excelled in that area. So did you always want to be a mechanical engineer, or what path did you take? I mean, once you got into high school and then into college and beyond, how did that kind of start to form? Did you always want to be a mechanical engineer, or what journey did you take to get there?
So that's a good question. So being first generation, my parents did not finish like school and did not go to college, because they migrated here from Vietnam, and all they've known was to work, support the family.
Wow.
So when I was in high school, I really didn't like know about like what college to sign up for. I only signed up for one college, which is USF, and I got in, and that's where I graduated with my mechanical engineering degree. But I kind of surrounded myself with, friends who kind of strive for excellence. All my friends were the top 10 people who graduated in high school. So surrounding myself with them, I kind of just followed what they did. Everyone was like signing up for colleges. We're all studying like so hard, even though it's high school. But they kind of gave me that motivation to do well in school. And then after that, I graduated high school. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, to be honest, but I knew my strengths. I knew I was good at math, and I knew I was good at problem solving. So I had one of my buddies who was part of the top 10 that graduated. He said, yeah, I'm going to do engineering at USF. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up. I signed up to that too. So I signed up for engineering, and I'm like, dang, there's so many disciplines. There's mechanical, there's chemical, computer, all this stuff. And I ended up choosing mechanical because I felt like that's where I was excel at. And I enjoyed it. I loved college. I loved studying. And I love meeting people who would enjoy studying, because later on those people ended up being my lifetime friends. Like I was a groomsman at one of my college buddies' wedding. Like that's how close we got. That's how we started that engineering family. But I'm getting off topic. But yeah, no, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I just chose what my strengths were, and I was good at math. I was good at problem solving, so that's why I went with engineering.
Man, that's incredible though. I mean, first generation, and you truly had no idea. And so the fact that you surrounded yourself with people who were just high achieving and they wanted to achieve these really big things too. And so you fell into that crowd, and that's how you learned to develop those skills and know, I guess find out what you really wanted to do. And so engineering kind of took hold. So once you discovered that there were so many different disciplines in the engineering field, you said you kind of chose mechanical engineering because you thought you could excel there. It seemed to align with your strengths. Well, how did you, because I'm not well versed in all of the disciplines of engineering, so I'm not sure. I know there's a lot though. And so how you truly decided to go in with mechanical engineering once you entered college, once you went to USF, and then what form that took once you graduated, how you kind of got into that field.
So when I chose mechanical, I honestly kind of just did it because that was one of the options that my friend presented me with. He's like, hey, there's a lot of this, but I'm going to go with mechanical. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go with mechanical too. So it ended up working out. I love the electives and the material that went with it. I wasn't bad at it. I enjoyed studying it. And then leading on to like trying to get experience, because again, even though there's like different disciplines of engineering, like I said, like chemical, electrical, mechanical, civil, mechanical engineering is still pretty broad, because mechanical engineering also branches out to manufacturing and power. And I was like, crap, so then what do I specialize in? So then with mechanical engineering, you have the book stuff, right? You have the stuff that they teach you at school. And then you end up having to choose what you want your career path to be. So trying to like bring it back to mechanical engineering, I had a class called manufacturing processes. And it is about manufacturing, which is one of the things you do if you're a mechanical engineer. That class opened the door to like an internship that I ended up doing that kind of had me focus on, okay, I think this is what I want to do with mechanical engineering. So I'll continue going through school, engineering school at USF. And then I started just generalizing all this mechanical engineering stuff into like manufacturing engineering, which is kind of what I do now. So I hope I answered your question.
No, it definitely does. Because that was actually my follow up to that was what exactly is mechanical engineering and what field did you find yourself in? So with manufacturing engineering, what does that look like? I mean, what is a day in the life of Thong Law look like as a manufacturing engineer?
Right. Okay. So manufacturing also branches out to other things.
Yeah. Lay it on me. I want to know.
So manufacturing engineering. So my title is mechanical engineering, right?
Right.
But my company, we're also a aerospace manufacturing company. Aerospace,
Wow.
which is we deal with space. We deal with airplanes. Um, and to kind of explain manufacturing engineering a little bit, you can manufacture a cup, like you can make a cup, or you can manufacture a car. So there's like automotive manufacturing, or you can manufacture dog toys. But my job, we do aerospace manufacturing. So we specialize in like satellites generally,
Wow.
and we work with a lot with like military and government stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's very cool to be, involved with these kind of projects that are like top secret and like commercial stuff, because like a lot of our stuff goes into space, and I'm like, cool, I worked on that project. So it's really cool to be, like to be involved and to be able to like touch that project that went into space or went into something that made history, So it's
Wow.
It's very cool. It's a cool field to be in. I really like my job because they're very like understanding, and they help me learn a lot. Coming in as like a 23-year-old new engineer, like just came out from college, so it's definitely cool.
That's incredible. That I mean, really to see something and to know, wow, I actually had my hands on that. I played a part in the creation of something that incredible and that unique. That's amazing.
Right.
And so, I mean, again, too, at such a young age to have graduated and then really dove right into this field. So I mean, from there, how did you find out about the Titan Games? How did you become a contestant on the Titan Games?
So as a millennial, I'm on social media a lot when I'm not working. so I kind of saw it through social media, and then I kind of gave it a shot. I was like, all right, might as well signed up for it, or send in my audition. And I got a response saying like, hey, we like, they like my social media because I try to post constantly. I post about working out because I do competitive powerlifting.
Okay.
And then I like say on my Instagram that I am also a mechanical engineer, and it looks like the Titan Games team, we're looking for like everyday people who are into fitness, who work and then also work out. They make the time for everything. So like, what? I think I got a shot. Send the submission video, got that response back, and later on I got a call saying, hey, so we like your profile. We'd like to do an interview, a face-to-face interview, not a face-to-face interview, but like a video interview.
Yeah.
So we did a video interview, talked about my life, and then later on, weeks later, I got a call again saying, hey, we would like to invite you to a combine. I'm like, what? This is so cool. They're going to fly me out to LA. I got to bring my fiance, and And we ended up in LA. NBC chose 105 people out of the hundreds of thousands that applied, and 105 of us just went to this combine. We didn't know what to expect. There's a couple of tests, like obstacle course, like we're running on treadmills as long as we can. There's like an obstacle with monkey bars. There's some promos that show it, but like you go up an incline, down an incline as fast as you can. Everyone's like tearing up their hands.
Man.
It's crazy, but it was so fun. It's such an amazing experience, and we got to meet each other. Like all the Titans got to meet each other, and everyone ended up having like the same goals, the same mindset. And it's literally a room of people that are the same as you. So it's kind of cool. That experience overall is really pretty cool. And then after the combine, I thought I did well, but I didn't want to put my hopes into all that. I had fun. Weeks later, get a phone call from a producer, Peter, and he was like, "Hey," and I'm at the gym at the time. I get a call right after work, and I'm at the gym. He's like, "Hey, sorry you didn't make it." I'm like, "Oh man, that sucks." He's like, "Just kidding. You just got a spot on the Titan Games. We want you to fly out, blah 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 blah, to compete in the Titan Games." And I was just like freaking out in the gym locker room, I don't know what to say. I was like, why would you say that? Why would you do that to me? That's not funny. So I got that news, and then everything changed from there.
That is so cool too. Like you're saying, you were at a combine with 105 people who really just had that same drive and determination as you. And even though you're in mechanical engineering, it's people in all different fields, whatever it is that they do, they still were there for that common purpose and all driven to succeed in that arena, which is amazing. And so when you came across that post though on Instagram and you saw that the Titan Games and you're like, all right, I'm going to apply. And I mean, the fact that you're a competitive powerlifter, so you saw this test of physical fitness and mental strength. But what drove you to say, okay, this is my next challenge. This is the next goal I want to achieve. And why did that become all of a sudden a goal that you wanted to achieve, being a contestant on the Titan Games?
Oh, that's a good question. I think a part of me just wanted to see if they'd actually select me so I can show them what I got.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm very athletic. Even though my face is in the books, I'm always working, but I'm always working out as well. Besides engineering, I'm always at the gym. Right after work, I make sure I go to the gym, compete, get stronger. And I felt like my story, being an engineer and having that discipline ever since I started working out in college, keep that discipline throughout my life ever since I started, from being a student, working out, and then becoming an engineer and continue to work out. I feel like that was a good enough story to get myself into the Titan Games, and I felt like that was another challenge that I feel like I could tackle. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, could I win this car if I join this sweepstakes? Well, it wouldn't hurt to just put my name in there. So I felt like just throwing that shot out there, because The Rock is one of my biggest role models. So to be like, okay, yeah, we'll see let's just give it a shot. To me, I didn't know if I was actually going to be on there. It was just one of those things I was like, it's worth a shot to try. But I would love to be on the show, and I would love to go through those challenges.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took a shot, and I was able to put my put my skills and my strength and my training to the test.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I love that. It was just, you saw another opportunity to try and push yourself to the limits, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to prove this to the producers. I'm going to prove that I can do this. I can accomplish this. And I love that. And too, I mean, obviously The Rock creating such an incredible show of, and I mean, leading that kind of, leading that charge, as being an entrepreneur himself and very physically fit and just being so driven and having that goal setting mentality. It's really cool that he brought together such 64 incredible people to compete together, and I mean compete against one another, but truly compete together too. You lift one another up and want each other to succeed. So how do you think then your experience as a competitive powerlifter helped you as far as the being physically fit side of the combine went? How did being a competitive powerlifter help you there?
I think being a competitive powerlifter kind of helped me in the sense of strength, being able to lift something heavy. None of that was an obstacle for me. Anything that was heavy, I was able to lift. I mean, heavy to me.
Right.
Yeah. So I was able to lift. So I think that aspect of training helped me a lot when it comes to more of the heavy lifting stuff. Where the competition, having to train for the competition, none of the athletes knew what they were getting themselves into. So we had to train differently of how we were, supposed to train. So me being a powerlifter, I trained heavy lifting, which helped me when it came to heavy lifting. But other stuff cardio, anything that involved cardio, I would have to train separately, and I felt like I trained it good enough for the games. And it's just throwing a curveball at you that makes you train like differently. But my strength was my strength.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so,
Yeah.
how did you even? I mean, just because of your truly hectic study schedule, and then once you got into post collegiate life, I mean, your work schedule has to be very incredibly challenging, being a mechanical engineer. But then, how did you kind of fall into the world of competitive powerlifting? How did that get on your radar, and why did you decide to go down that path as well?
Okay. Very good question. All right, so let me start you off like right at the beginning. I'll fast forward to where I started.
Okay.
So all of my lifting started in college because of engineering school. I needed an outlet. I needed to have something that like kept me stress free, my sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I started like bodybuilding, like bro workouts with my friends in college. So then that kept me sane all the way past graduating college. So I continued to lift, to stay, keep my aesthetics, keep my strength. And then I started meeting people. Like when you're training at gyms, you start meeting people, you start talking to people. You try new things, try bro science. Like everyone's saying this is the best thing to do, this and that. And then someone introduced me to powerlifting, which is squat. Like you do your best squat, bench, and deadlift.
Okay.
And so I was like, wow, I want to get my numbers up. And then one year I ended up deciding, hey, I'm just going to sign up for a powerlifting competition. And I said this with my friend, and he was motivating, and he's like, I'm going to do it. So he ended up not doing it. But I was like, you know what? I already trained so much for it. I'm going to commit. I'm going to do it.
Wow.
And this is when I first turned, it was on my 23rd birthday. And I ended up taking first place, which built like that confidence and the ego.
Yeah.
That like, all right, you can do this, you can get stronger. And like, that's why I stuck into the game since then. So dang, it has been that long. Dang, 23. Yeah. No, actually, no, not 23. Actually, yeah, it was, no, 24. Sorry, I think it was 24. I'm like losing my timeline.
That's okay. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Yeah. Man, but that's really cool. It's just kind of a challenge. And even though your friend backed out, you decided again, I'm just going to do it. And then that led you on this trajectory to unknowingly be prepared for both for an athletic competition of kind of, I guess, the rock said, the everyday person, a person who leads a challenging life, but also makes time to be physically fit and mentally fit. And so allowing that powerlifting competitiveness to come into your life, it's really cool that you have that balance, and you've intentionally chosen to make time for both of those aspects in your life. And so with the experience that you had through the Titan Games, the Combine and beyond, I wonder, what is your definition of a Titan, and how do you believe that your experience on the Titan Games will now carry over into the rest of your life?
I feel like the definition of a Titan is someone that can adapt, to whatever obstacle is in front of them. Like no matter how strong you are, how fast you are, if you don't have the perfect balance of something and that obstacle is in front of you and it requires more strength than speed, and you don't have enough strength and speed, then you're going to get beaten down, just like Mount Olympus. Like Mount Olympus is like a mixture of speed, agility, like strength, and you got to be really smart. And I think that's what The Rock had in mind when he was creating it. He wanted to really break down, the athletes and crown them the title of the Titan, which is why he called it the Titan Games. Yeah. So I think the definition of a Titan is someone who's able to, adapt, to any obstacle in front of them and just dominate. And I think you can take that into your life. Yeah. Like if something bad happens into your life, you got to learn how to adapt and not let that bring you down. And I truly think I think that is a good definition in my opinion.
Yeah.
What a Titan is.
Absolutely. And I mean, I completely agree. I love that. You need to be able to adapt no matter what situation, no matter what comes up in your life. And so what's next for you? I mean, you have the Titan Games under your belt and still going hard in your career. So do you have any new athletic competitions on the horizon or anything else that's coming up for you? Just what's next after the Titan Games?
Ooh, I do. I am currently 5 weeks out from my next powerlifting competition, which some of the Titans are actually competing in that competition with me. So it's actually kind of cool.
That's so
It's like
cool.
a mini reunion. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Is it because you all live in the same area, or is everybody traveling to compete together?
Well, I know one of the athletes, Kelsey. She lives in South Dakota.
Okay.
And she's known in the powerlifting industry. She's a sponsored athlete by Universal Supplements, and she'll be in competing. What is it? Anthony Furman. He's in the Army. He lives in Brandon, but they just gave him a new job because he became like the strongest man in the world under 105 kilograms. He's gonna be on the Titan Games as well. He's going to be competing at the Battle of the Bay. That's what the competition is called, Battle of the Bay.
Okay.
Which is here by my hometown. So everyone's going to come back. I think another athlete, Janessa, she's going to be there. So I think we might have 3-4 Titans in the house that day to compete in February. So that's going to be a crazy and amazing experience and a, mini reunion of all the athletes.
That's really cool that you guys stayed connected and you decided, all right, we're going to do another competition together. Just going all
we're like
in there.
A family. Everyone, like I said, like if you got to sit down, you got to know these guys, like they're like family. Like when we did like the last news interview, it was me, Anthony Furman and Janessa. I forgot Janessa's last name. But we all were just hanging around like friends. Like we always knew each other. And then went out for breakfast. So it's very cool. I feel like these people will be around for a long time as like good friends.
That's really cool. And I mean, it's funny how you were just scrolling through Instagram and you saw this challenge. You're like, all right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to go after it. And then you incidentally met 63 other people who are on this same life journey as you and just as driven, just as motivated. And so now you have, like you're saying, that deep bond, that connection, and it can last. And that's, I mean, it's amazing what sport does and what that goal setting mentality does of bringing people together, bringing like-minded individuals together in that space. That's so cool. And so Thong, I just have, with everything that you've accomplished so far, knowing that you have so much left, I mean, with your powerlifting competition and just everything left within your career and your journey. I just have one final question that I ask all of my interviewees, but what do you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? Man, that's a hard one. What do I want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered as the guy that motivated you to do something that you weren't going to do that day. Like, I felt like I was such a big motivator in college to all my friends. And I still am. Like, when I see someone slacking, I would say something. I'm very honest with, people around me and my loved ones. I want to be remembered for when they think back, like, oh, man, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do this that day, but Tom motivated me to go do it. And I feel like my life is like a big motivation video. Like, I wanted everything that I do, I want people to look at it like, wow, if Thong can do it, I can do it. Like, if Thong can make it on the Titan Games, I can train hard and make it on the Titan Games. Or if Thong can wake up at like 5 a.m. to go to work or to go to work early, I can wake up at 5 a.m. So I want to be remembered for making you do what you weren't planning on doing.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the Keep Moving Forward Creators Studio, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward podcast iTunes channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.